All right. So I'm feeling the inspiration to share with you, so that's why I start this. Um, so the creative miracle work, you could say, creative miracle expressions, um, say that the whole setup is to actually have something that is useful and to recognize what is useful. Now you see that if we in fact apply what is being given, we get into in fact the intensity of where we find ourselves. Now that seems even more so today as any other day, and which is actually helpful. So it is like, yeah, this is where this is about. Yes, this is where this is about. We have been dreaming a dream of death, and this is what appears to be happening. It appears to be that somebody suddenly can be gone. And now, in the application of what we have learned, of what we discover in ourselves to be the truth about us and each other, it is not different than any other moment that we come together. So that's why I love to start here, exactly here in this spot, with that. In fact, using the mind training, the creative mind training that is given in this masterpiece called The Course in Miracles, and in fact bring it in right in this moment. It's like, yeah, this is what this is about. Absolutely. It is not only working on great days or wonderful days or who knows what kind of days. No, this is the very practice that we do with this intensity and this, you could say, divinely devastating coming together. This was happening on Thursday when we came together in a meeting, or it was Friday, like Friday morning, we came together in a meeting called Devastating, like divinely devastating. Now you see, it's like, yeah, what is that exactly? So, yeah, it is divinely devastating to see your whole world collapse, to feel your heart break into pieces, to see that every image that you have made, like nothing is left of it, that it completely like falls apart. And this is exactly the spot where something fundamental can happen to you. The realization that what is can never be taken away from me. What I love, the love that I am, the love that I give, I don't give in vain. There's no accident in it. The love that I am, I will be forever. The love that I recognize my brother to be will be with me forever. And nothing can change that. No three-dimensional image of that can change that whatsoever. And this is so amazing that we can actually express this to one another today. And that's so, yeah, it's totally a gift in that sense. It's totally a gift. Does that take away the feelings that you have or the grieving that you feel going on because somebody is suddenly not there anymore? No, it does not take that away. Like, you can have your thoughts, your feelings and your emotions related to it. Absolutely has a place in all of this. The release of that is really important for each one of us. Yeah, release whatever you need to release in this. Take time to let that really, say, be cleared out in you, so that it is like clean and beautiful again, like the light can shine through all of this. So there's nothing wrong with any of that, is what I'm saying. So that is something to remember. But to bring it back to where we started is like, yeah, this does not have a beginning or an end. It is not born and it cannot die. The truth of you will always be there, and that is not a mere fantasy. That is a true experience that is being offered now, as it is always offered. And you can say like, well, it's difficult for me to open up to that now. It's like, well, it is always difficult to open up to it if you wanna, you know, if you wanna hold on to anything, it will always be difficult. No, this is the easiest, in fact, because what is it that you have to lose? You feel already falling, letting yourself be falling apart, or it's like that already took place. So now what you got to lose? And in other words, this is just as much the right time to receive it as any time is. There is no exception to receiving the love of God. So why not now? You know, that is so beautiful and that's so great. So it's like it's an eternal gift given in every moment without exception. Now this creative miracle mind training, creative mind training, I will say it right. This creative miracle mind training, I didn't do it right, has not the purpose to make things for it necessarily, to come to a product necessarily. No, this is different. This is more like, okay, so since the 1st of January, you had the possibility to start the daily lessons and go for it, like do them as they are instructed. Now that comes with a spiritual, say, gift, you could say, your openness, you're training your openness to receive what is given in the moment, and as a part of yourself, as an expression of you, as a new recognition of the true you, in fact. So that step by step will be delivered to you, or will be given to you, by just following the instructions of the Course in Miracles, say, lessons. Now, one of the lessons is, of course, the lesson of today, and I love to read that with you. And I think we should just do that. And if you feel like participating in it, you do it. And if you don't, that's fine too, of course. Like, there's no obligation to anything. Never is an obligation for anything for you to have to do. There's no obligation to that whatsoever. That's not different any other day. I'm inviting you to join the reading of this today lesson. And I will pull it up, and we might as well just use it today, since it is the mind training, and since we are doing that. Here's lesson 13. I'll make it big. Sorry for this delay. It's always a bit of a hassle. So here we go. So if you feel like reading with me, I'll read the paragraph and you can jump in whenever you want. And here we go. So lesson 13, a meaningless world engenders fear. Today's idea is really another form of the preceding one, except that it is more specific as the emotion aroused. Actually, a meaningless world is impossible. Nothing without meaning exists. However, it does not follow that you will not perceive something that has no meaning. On the contrary, you will be particularly likely to think you do perceive it.
Recognition of meaninglessness arouses intense anxiety in all the separated ones. It represents a situation in which God and the ego challenge each other as to whose meaning is to be written in the empty space which meaninglessness provides. The ego rushes in frantically to establish its own ideas there, fearful that void may otherwise be used to demonstrate its own unreality. And on this alone, it is correct.
Par conséquent, il est essentiel que tu apprennes à reconnaître l'insignifiant et à l'accepter sans peur. Si tu as peur, il est certain que tu doteras le monde d'attributs qu'il ne possède pas et l'encombrera d'images qui n'existent pas. Pour l'ego, les illusions sont des mécanismes de sécurité, comme elles doivent l'être aussi pour toi qui t'assimiles à l'ego.
Les exercices d'aujourd'hui, qui devraient être répétés 3 ou 4 fois et ne devraient pas durer plus d'1 minute environ chaque fois, seront faites d'une manière quelque peu différente des précédentes. Les yeux fermés, répète-toi l'idée d'aujourd'hui, puis ouvre les yeux et regarde lentement autour de toi en disant: je regarde un monde insignifiant. Répète-toi cet énoncé tout en regardant autour de toi, puis ferme les yeux et conclue par: un monde insignifiant engendre la peur, parce que je pense être en compétition avec Dieu.
You may find it difficult to avoid resistance in one form or another to this concluding statement. Whatever form such resistance may take, remind yourself that you are really afraid of such a thought because of the vengeance of the enemy. You are not expected to believe this statement at this point, and will probably try to dismiss it as preposterous. Note carefully, however, any signs of overt or covert fear which it may arouse.
This is our first attempt at stating an explicit cause and effect relationship of a kind which you are very inexperienced in recognizing. Do not dwell on the concluding statement, and try not even to think of it except during the exercise periods. That will suffice at present.
So what I try to say is, like, we practice this, so it is absolutely useful to practice it and to stay with your practice no matter what is going on. Like, everything will be going on all the time. There will be no exception. So that's so great about the mind training. It is really like discovering that none of the happenings that appear to be happening are actually in the way for you to stay in perfect communication with your creator. And this becomes more and more and more obvious when you stay in this practice. So that is one thing that I like to so that's why I use it too. I was inspired to use it this way right now. And the other part that I love to share is that while doing these exercises, and especially the first 50 lessons, they have all to do with the undoing of your old ways of thinking, your old ways of holding on to the human existence and thinking that is your life. And so during the time of, you could say, really say, like transformation, especially in the first 50 days, because then it is so obvious, like in nothing I see means anything. It's like, well, that's the opposite of what I always thought. I do think it matters totally what I see and all this. So there's a lot of contradiction with your old beliefs. You know, there's a lot of conflict, in fact, that is being introduced. Now, this is exactly what I love you, so to speak, to use in the creative mind training. Because it is like, yeah, you feel what you're undergoing. For instance, I had this experience when I started doing the Course in Miracles intensively. I started to say, yeah, what's the word for that in English? I don't even know. It's like when you when you tear paper apart. That's the word. Yeah, you tear it apart. When I was tearing paper apart, I had the idea that I was tearing myself apart. Yeah, and it was like, wow, it's so great to undo that. And it feels really as if healing is taking place while I'm just tearing paper apart. And I put the pieces back together into a mosaic that was totally different than the pictures that I was ripping apart. So it's like, you see, it really works with your energy and occurrence and experience of yourself when using even creative means or just things that are available for you, whether that is feeling that you have to walk or whether feelings that you have to go on your bicycle out there, or who knows what you're going to do. Like, see that as a tool really for the release of your self-identity more than anything. Like we have been using to learn to bicycle, for instance, as a Dutchman I say this, like to learn to ride a bicycle. But now it's like, no, this is still useful, but in a whole different way. And this is really my experience too with walking, for instance, or with standing still and letting a creative process occur in myself and suddenly find myself painting. Like it now starts with total silence instead of an idea. Now, this beautiful inspiration that you're suddenly able to receive because your mind finally shuts up for a moment. And more like this, it's like the inspiration can come to you finally and is there continuously without break or anything if your mind is open. And why not use that to share that with one another as an expression of yourself in this happy dream of love that you suddenly discover, you know? So this is really why I got inspired to do this, because it works so well for myself. That's why I can share it with you. So, and not that you have to tear paper apart, but you find your way in a way in which you even can physically, well, this was another thing that I did, like really, I suddenly had the incredible, say, inspiration for heavy physical work. And this is what I did. I started cleaning roofs, for instance, and saw this as a total transformation activity of actually cleaning my own mind. I had to do something with this energy, and this is what I did. So that, yeah, you have your own specific parts in that where you can release, in fact, the function that you gave it before in order for this energy to flow through you and actually giving you a very warm sense of I'm not doing this by myself. Suddenly I feel a presence within me that wasn't there a moment ago. And just by doing the lessons, taking time for them, following the instructions that are being said, and also letting yourself be open during the day to activities that you normally would not take time for, maybe, or yeah, like this. So there can be also that you sit down and when you have your quiet time, for instance, that you suddenly pick up a pencil and start writing something. And it doesn't have to be a big story or an incredible poem. No, it is just something is moving you, and something very subtle is being transferred to you that you're actually putting down. Like, how do you think that the Course in Miracles came into being? It was literally taken down by someone who, say, literally got the inspiration, literally got the words and had to write them down and type them. So I'm not saying that you should start channeling or anything like this, but more like, no, this inspiration comes from deep within, and when you have your mind open, you can easily receive that. It is a natural expression of you. And of course, we have seen this too in other moments that we were together practicing this or allowing that to happen. First thinking like, oh, I can't do that. That's nothing for me. I cannot do that. And suddenly seeing like, hey, wait a minute. It's happening. I thought I really couldn't do it, but here it is. So that's really the invitation for this meeting too.
Je ne me blesserai pas à nouveau aujourd'hui. Acceptons en ce jour le pardon pour notre seule fonction. Pourquoi devrions-nous attaquer nos esprits et leur donner des images de douleur ? Pourquoi devrions-nous leur enseigner qu'ils sont impuissants alors que Dieu offre son pouvoir et son amour, les enjoignant de prendre ce qui déjà leur appartient? L'esprit qui est rendu désireux d'accepter les dons de Dieu a été ramené au pur esprit et il étend sa liberté et sa joie, comme la volonté de Dieu est unie à la sienne. Le soi que Dieu a créé ne peut pas pécher. Par conséquent, il ne peut pas souffrir. Choisissons-le aujourd'hui pour notre identité et échappons ainsi pour toujours de toutes les choses que le rêve de peur paraît nous offrir. Père, ton Fils ne peut pas être blessé. Et si nous pensons souffrir, c'est que nous manquons de connaître notre seule identité que nous partageons avec toi. Nous voudrions y revenir aujourd'hui. Je ne me blesserai pas à nouveau aujourd'hui.
say, and still staying with the mind training book, like with the workbook of A Course in Miracles, just to stay open, not for your creative process, but more like, no, that is one of the side effects of using the say the workbook. By doing these exercises, your mind can calm down, and suddenly there is beautiful inspiration. Or you see that you walk outside, and suddenly the reflections of the sun and sun rays of the sun in the water become like a great inspiration for you. I know I've been bouncing around like that. It's like, I cannot believe it. This clarity of mind is literally being represented in what I see too. It's unbelievable. So it's like that has nothing to do with me, but with the, say, connection that I suddenly can receive, and becomes an incredible inspiration to me. With a timing that is so perfect that I could never come up with it. Like I literally can't make it, but it's given to me. We all have these moments. See, the thing with a human being, you could say, is that a human being has peak experiences maybe a couple of times in his life, maybe once a year. But it's like, why not stay there? Why not have peak experiences like on a daily basis? Why not be overwhelmed with the beauty of something, or being touched by the love of someone? Like this. It's like, why not on a daily basis? Hey, this is life. This is really life. That is, say, stirring you in your, first in a limited setup, but that starts to rumble and starts to fall apart, and suddenly there you are. So this is the inspiration for the creative mind training, and that's why it's so lovely to use it, because it has no exceptions. If I would make an exception, I would miss it. I would actually not see what is really going on. Now, yeah, no matter what is going on, it sounds maybe extreme, but it's really true. It's like it has no exceptions. The love of God is always present. It has no exceptions. You're not able to lose anything. You're not, all of these human laws are not at work any longer if you recognize what is actually going on. So that's so beautiful. Yes.